present in the room, as well as Marie Bartlett and Judy Mason. Could I remind you please to use your microphones for those persons online? We have received apologies today from Joe Robertson, who is unable to be here today, and Councillor Ian Stevens, who may be late. I've not received any notification from Councillor John Medland. So, yeah. Ah, here he is. Okay. John Medland has just arrived. That's marvellous. Thank you. You're there next to Jeff. Thank you very much. So item 2 on the agenda, I am conscious that I think it's probably myself and you, Paul, that were the only two that were at that meeting. Are you okay to approve that those minutes are a true record?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So, and I agree those two, so I'll just sign those. Here he is. We're doing quite well now. Councillor Stevens has just arrived. So we're a full committee. Fabulous, apart from Joe that gave his apologies. So item 3 on the agenda is declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interests? No, no, no. Okay, thank you very much. So we move on to item 4, which is public question time. We've received no questions from the public. So we move on to item number 5, which is to consider any urgent business. I have none. So we move on to item number 6, which is what the meeting is about today, which is the establishment of a subcommittee. So this is standard that we have to do this every year. We've not been called upon, but it's just what we have to do according to the monitoring officer. So if you have any queries or concerns, use your microphone, please, and raise your hand. Councillor John Medland.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm a bit confused. I don't quite know why we're having this particular agenda item. What is there a? Do we know what the quorum is for this committee?
The quorum is 3.
So why do we need a subcommittee if the quorum is already 3?
That I do not know. We would have to call Mr. Potter to give us an answer.
Chairman, I might be able to answer that. It's basically there are certain things that the Appointments and Employment Committee do as a whole. There are some things that they can do, just 3 of them, and so therefore the idea of the report is that you allow Democratic Services to take a pick of 3. Usually we will go with the chairman. We will look at proportionality and pick 3 to sit on that particular committee, bearing in mind where if there might be any sort of interest at all.
Councillor Brodie.
Thank you, Chair. And I think the similar applies to the Appeals Committee as well, which I've been on, I think I'm back on now. And I would guess that if there was a need for this subcommittee to meet, you would probably have a member of the Alliance Group, a member of the Conservative Group, and either myself or John Medland on that subcommittee to make it politically proportional. But we leave that to Democratic Services, and it tends to be about availability. The last time I was on the Appeals Committee, it was always the same 3 people because they were always the most available. Okay.
So any more queries? So the recommendation is item 2, that an Appointments and Employment Subcommittee be appointed of any 3 members drawn from the Appointments and Employment Committee and on an ad hoc basis with the terms of references as set out in the Constitution, and that it be politically proportionate as far as practical, with a quorum of 3 such members, except that when dealing with action in respect of a governance statutory chief officer, the membership will also include 2 independent persons as appointed under section 28(7) of the Localism Act 2011. Is everyone okay with that? Okay. Is that an okay, John, or is that a question?
I'm still not happy with this. I don't think I can support it because I can't really understand the logic behind it, the reasoning. It just seems an unnecessary I can see there's some technical reason why we're being given this decision today, but I personally find it rather odd. I'm sorry.
That's absolutely fine. You don't have to vote in support. Councillor Paul Brading.
I was just saying that I had the same query as this last year. I thought, what is the point of agreeing a subcommittee? And as you've seen this morning, we're not 100% attendance this morning. So I think it protects the fact that business can always get done. Any important decisions will always come back. And any important decisions, like an appointment of a chief executive, for example, would always come back to the full committee anyway. It's just to make sure that the Democratic Services need something to be done fairly urgently. They can, and as it says in the recommendation, as far as possible, practically, and from experience since I queried it last year, when it's needed, it has been proportionally representative. So I think it's just to ensure that business can be conducted. The staffing matters sometimes are quite urgent, rather than wait for a quarterly meeting, just so that things can be done. But big decisions will always come back to this committee anyway, if that helps.
Okay, so that's the recommendation. Is there someone that will propose that? Councillor Paul Brading, is there someone that can second that? Councillor Jeff Brodie has seconded it. All those in favour of that recommendation, please show. Oh, we've turned to Councillor John Medland. That's unanimous, that everybody is in agreement with that. Thank you very much. That's very helpful. The next item is members' question times. I've not received any in advance. So, and a question must be submitted in writing, and we've not received it. So thank you very much, chaps. That was a long journey in for 7 minutes, but thank you all very much. Meeting ended.
Sorry, I understand that Wendy was going to give us a talk as well. Oh, that's just no more news.